welcome back to Station's coverage of the 2021 St Andrews by-election. My name is Laura Day, and in this short series of interviews, I'll be talking to the candidates hoping to become your next Director of Events and Services. I'll be learning about their plans, priorities, and of course, their personalities. I'm joined today by Bella Zeff. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So to start then, why have you decided to run for election?
So I've decided to run for this job because I'm determined to make the St Andrews student experience vibrant and exciting as we come out of a really, really hard year. I've been involved with the union quite a lot over the years and I love it. I've been on Mermaids Committee, which is a subcommittee of the union, for a couple of years now. And I was vice president this last year, and that's a subcommittee that the DOE's line manages as well. And I think that's given me a lot of experience in kind of adapting events. Obviously that was theatre specific, but the stuff I've learned is kind of very applicable to other things as well. Kind of adapting events through different levels of COVID restriction. Obviously we're kind of coming out the other end of that now, hopefully. And I really believe that I'm the person who can make that happen in a really exciting way and best support everyone as we kind of readjust, there we go, to this kind of a new normal.
So talking about adapting there, thanks to COVID, we're going to have to ensure that those isolating or those studying away from St Andrews next semester can still access and get the most out of student life. So how would you do that as Director of Events and Services?
Yeah, so I think carrying on some virtual events kind of in line with the in-person ones will be necessary. I would like to kind of explore the idea of setting up a kind of small consultation feedback group with the students who are far away, just because I feel like their opinion will be really important in kind of finding out what they want, because it's a really like tough spot to be in. I would also like to kind of explore and experiment with the idea of like doing some kind of hybrid in-person online events. I know like people had kind of tutorials where they could both call in and go in person last semester, and I think that thing could be kind of applicable to stuff like pub quizzes that run in the union every week. There's kind of the idea of the possibility of maybe live streaming some kind of events and performances. That would be kind of especially applicable to like student music performances and plays and stuff like that. Obviously working with the relevant subcommittees for those. Through Mermaids this year, I've kind of had experience with like interacting with different parts of the university and like getting cameras and stuff like that, and figuring out how we can kind of film and stream things. Obviously that's all been while not having any live audience at all, but I think it could work with a live audience there as well and kind of make people feel more involved. Yeah, I think, and I also would like to kind of obviously this wouldn't be so much for isolating students, but maybe more for like kind of COVID anxious people, or depending on like how lockdown levels develop, if they come back in, especially as we go into winter. I think kind of really utilising the outdoor space we have available around town will be really important, both just because it would be really amazing. Like St Andrews is a beautiful town, it would be great to kind of get some of these outdoor spaces that we have up and running, but also that would provide really good contingency if like stricter COVID restrictions come back in and we need to move more things outdoors. To kind of already have that system in place would be really good.
So you mentioned there the outdoor spaces, and a good chunk of your manifesto is dedicated to that, which people can find online. So which outdoor spaces are you thinking of using, and which ones would you like to make more use of moving forward?
Yeah, so I think the piazza outside the union is a really valuable space. Over the years, there's not kind of been that much stuff there. You know, there's been kind of societies will run the odd like flash mob and stalls and stuff like that, but it's never really been like an active space in its own right. And I think what the union's done this summer with having that outdoor bar space is amazing. That's something I would like to work with Fife Council to make sure we can kind of continue stuff like that, and also getting the music fund in to see if we could get live music performances there. I think that'll also be really important for them, because the music fund is kind of trying to reinvent itself, and so I think giving them these slots and spaces like that would really kind of help boost them. There's also the field behind the union, which was kind of put a lot more on the map this year. I do ballroom and Latin dance, and we've been having classes there this whole semester, and it's a great place to run events. I think kind of key in getting that space up and running would be making it more inviting. So there's a possibility of kind of putting a mural on the back wall of the union. I think that's something that's been explored before that I would kind of like to push, and kind of making sure that space is available on booking systems would be really important. There are also other spaces around town that we would have to interact more with Fife Council to kind of try and get access to. So this last year, Mermaids wanted to kind of explore the idea of using outdoor spaces like the castle and the cathedral, but it proved quite difficult just on a small subcommittee basis. So that's something I would really like to kind of correspond with the council about, to set up a process where students or societies wanting to use spaces like that could kind of come through the union, and then me and other people in the union could like have a process in place to then work with Fife Council to use those spaces. And yeah, there's tons of spaces around town. I know they've already got stuff set up on the North Wharf for this upcoming Freshers Week, which could be really exciting to kind of explore again, in like refreshers and stuff like that. And there's also places like the bandstand, which are pretty easy to use. We looked into using that for a mermaid show this semester that unfortunately had to be cancelled because of COVID. But yeah.
Well, beautiful outdoor spaces are certainly not in short supply in St Andrews. So
Yeah.
So events and nights out are a really important part of student life, especially for freshers who are looking to meet a load of new people. So what would the union's weekly calendar look like if you were elected?
Yeah, so I've got a weekly calendar concept idea in my manifesto that people can have a look at. I think quite important in this is like reinventing Friday nights. I know it's been said and brought up many times over the years. I must admit I'm quite partial to like a cheesy bop. And I think a lot of people are, and there are also a lot of people who hate them, and also a lot of people who kind of hate themselves for liking them. But I think it would be important at first, especially with Friday nights, to kind of play around with different ideas, like whole building events for the kind of standard bop price of £3. Because that was something that an idea that was quite popular in the last kind of consultation that was run pre-COVID, and then also running the odd kind of classic bop event for people who like things like that, and then also kind of working with student DJs to run kind of more like classic club nights without themes. And then also kind of setting up a major consultation. That's one of the first things I would want to do, is kind of open a survey so that people could kind of share their opinions. I think it would be quite important to keep that open for a while at the start of semester, just because people's opinions on union nightlife are now quite out of date, because we've not had any nightlife for a year and a half. So I think kind of playing around with different options and seeing what works and what doesn't, and then getting feedback on it would be quite important. I would also like to work with the AU president to continue Sinners on Wednesday nights, and run different events on Wednesday nights as well. I think kind of reaching out to local student DJ collectives about the availability of union space and seeing if they want to use it for their events would also be really good there. I would like to work with Star to continue Sounds of Sandy's on Saturdays. They're quite keen to kind of keep that going on the kind of small, intimate basis that it's already running at in Sandy's bar. I would like to, I think because of the Baron's move into the Byre, there's now no longer space for Blind Mirth, the improv comedy group, in that new Byre studio space. So I believe the idea of them moving into Sandy's on Monday nights has been brought up, and I think that would be really exciting. Continuing the kind of Tuesday Beats and Bargains has been run on Tuesdays for I think a couple of years now, or at least a year pre-COVID, and that's something I would like to continue. I would also like to work with Saints LGBT to introduce an LGBT night I've spoken to them and they said they'd be interested in doing a kind of Thursday night in Beacon, because that's kind of become a bit of an unofficial tradition of theirs, is what I was told. So that's something I would kind of like to implement and make more official, but I would love to kind of work with them, figure out exactly what they want and how they envision this, and kind of help them get that on its feet. And then obviously continuing to work with Jazzworks. They've done Thursday Jazz for some time, and I would like to reintroduce that. And then also kind of keep a kind of Sunday evening bar slot for Music Fund. They wouldn't have to use it. I would like to kind of keep things quite casual for them while they get on their feet, but kind of having slots available for them to do chill music performances, or less chill ones if they prefer, kind of depending on how much build I get. Yeah.
But it sounds like there'd be a very jam-packed schedule with you at the reins. So
Yeah,
I think it's important to recognise that there will be a lot of students who will possibly be more anxious about emerging out of lockdown. They might be more COVID anxious. So how are you going to support those students to get the most out of student life?
Yeah, I think there'll be quite a split between people who are like really desperate to like get straight back in there and go out every night to like jam-packed main bar as it once was, and there'll also be students who are quite anxious about that and less keen for it. I think keeping the kind of outdoor piazza space open, where it kind of feels a bit more safe outdoors, would be really important, just to make sure that everyone is catered for. And I also think that kind of keeping those like Wednesday and Friday, as they always have been, like big club nights, while the rest of the week has a lot of stuff going on, but also more chill stuff as well, would be quite important.
It definitely sounds then like you're going to accommodate for all different tastes and interests, which is really nice. So then in about 30 seconds, could you summarise why people should vote Bella Zeff for Director of Events and Services?
I think people should vote for me because I'm really passionate about making St Andrews student life the best it can be. I've got a lot of experience in the union and running events for different societies, so I kind of know what works and what doesn't, and I can leap straight back in there with the kind of behind the scenes subcommittee line managing side of things, because I've worked with a lot of the different subcommittees as well as being on some of them. I think the Baron discussions are also quite an important part of kind of like my platform, because those are something I've been involved with from the beginning. My experience with those is kind of unrivaled, and that's something I would really like to leap straight back into, and I have very specific goals for what I think is achievable there and what needs to happen there. And yeah, I'm really passionate about bringing things back to life. I think I've got a lot of experience and a great basis from which to do it.
Bella Zeff, thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. I wish you all the best with your campaign.
Thank you so much.
If you would like to hear more about Bella's plans as DOES, tune in to Candidate Question Time on the 24th of August at 7:30. Join me next time as I examine Charles Baker's promises and policies. See you then. Bye.